the first thing I want to say when talking about the red pill community is that I'm actually kind of grateful it came into my life at an early age in regards to how I interpreted at the time, how I learned from the mistakes and where it can lead you, and how I've still kind of used the benefits of it in my like everyday life right now. So this is not me hating on the red pill community or asking for it to be like censored. It shouldn't go around. No, no, no. I think at the end of the day, information should be free. Unfortunately, there is some information where if you don't filter it correctly, it can become harmful. I think it's very hard to say whether or not that should not be allowed because then you enter the realm of not really accepting freedom of speech. And to be honest, look, you should be able to hear things. I think it's important the way you interpret it, which is up to everyone. So yeah, first things first, yeah, the red pill community did help. But I think the reason why I want to make this video is because I think when you don't filter out the wrong things, you can really put yourself in quite a dangerous situation that can alienate yourself from family, from friends. And I just think it's leading a lot of men astray. So I just kind of wanted to share my story, how it got me, how it found me, but how I kind of broke free, but also used the positive teachings in everyday life. So I had that typical story. I'm 19. I've just left university. Not just left. I just started, and I had a girlfriend. Now, look, I would go out partying with this girlfriend. It was quite that sort of relationship. I thought it was good, and we were all secure in the relationship. But unfortunately, you go to parties. There's men who are paying for bottles. They have cars. Look, I couldn't drive. I barely had a job. It was not looking great for me. And one thing led to another. You see her get picked up, you ask her where you going, you see some Insta messages you shouldn't be seeing. Long story short, she's been cheating all along with these guys. Now, obviously, for every 18 or 19-year-old, we know what path that leads to. You go straight to the gym and you think women ain't shit. And look, I'm not even saying you shouldn't do that. I think that's like it's a that's a storyline that every young man kind of needs to go through to just know what happens in life. Do you know what I mean? Like you can never be too safe. I think for me, the problem I have is that journey of women ain't shit and the type of information that you're fed in the red pill community, it's just not really healthy. And that's basically what I wanted to speak about. I do recognize that there are positives to focusing on your purpose and focusing on yourself. Of course there is. But I think when it comes at the expense of others or the way in which you think, it just doesn't make sense. For example, you can better yourself without thinking single mothers don't deserve anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you can go to the gym, work on yourself, and do you. You don't have to think lower of anyone else. Like, that, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not going to lie to you and say I wasn't. No, I think Kevin Samuels back in the day is the one that found me. So I loved it when I was hearing single mothers ain't shit. Make 100K a year, maybe 200K a year, and you're top 10% of man. Any woman will be lucky to have you. And you know what? It just doesn't make sense because you can have money and still be lame. Like, don't think having money makes you exempt from being lame. Let me explain something to you. Money will attract women, but the quality of woman it will attract is not worth anything. And unfortunately, it's not, what I'm saying here is not to deter you. I kind of think that young men should go out and experience this. So work hard, make your money, and you tell me how fun it was talking to that airhead from the club. Yeah, you had sex. Okay, cool. There's only so much sex you can have. And obviously, again, those of you that are a bit younger will be like, oh, there's never enough. Trust me, you will get there. I'm talking about a story when I was 19. I'm 27 now. So I've done at least 7 years of sleeping around, going somewhere, going there. I was doing an absolute madness. Yeah, I was financially doing well for myself as well. So it made it easier. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that when you get to a certain age, now when you're young, you're thinking, oh, life can be like this forever. But trust me, unfortunately, illnesses happen, circumstances change, and all of a sudden you're rock bottom. All those connections you built and everything you have was built on the preface that you have the money and that you have the resources. The world is a crazy place. Everything you have today can be gone tomorrow. You think it can't happen to you until it happens to you. Now, this is essentially what I wanted to talk about in regards to I have a girlfriend now, and I just think back about the girls I was talking to and having sex with prior to her, and they look, man, this is it's very different when a woman makes you food because you have money compared to a woman who makes you food because you make her laugh or because you make her feel safe. There is a difference. You will feel the difference. A lot of the time, I think men get caught up in the whole they just want to have you want to have power. Look, I'm a man too. Of course, we want to have power. That's part of what drives us. I think that's an important thing. I'm not telling you to get rid of. I'm just trying to help young men direct it in the right way. And I think although the point of the red pill is to step out of the matrix, to focus on your purpose, I think my issue with the red pill community is that it just contradicts itself. So what I mean by that is, can you not see that all of these men that are encouraging you into the red pill, saying focus on your purpose, invest in crypto, bro, all of that stuff, uh, if they were truly happy, they would not be talking to you. And what I mean by that is, think about the term purpose. They make you focus on your purpose and then tell you, oh, look at all the money I'm getting and look at all the girls I'm getting. So what tends to happen is these young men that are listening to what these red pillars are saying are thinking, okay, after I go to the gym and after I make a lot of money, I will then have the girls, the yachts, the cars, and all of that stuff. And you know, the irony is, you will. I'm not trying to even say you won't. No, of course you will. I don't want to say I've been there, not crazy, but when you have money, women will follow. That's an almost a fact. That's almost a fact. But what you're not understanding is that if those men were truly happy with that life, they would not be talking to you. They would be outliving it. But instead, they come online and tell you, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I started thinking about it. Why would they do that? Let's just think. Some of these men have millions. If I gave you 10 million, not anything crazy, some of these red pillars are claiming they have it. So if I gave you 10 mil, are you going to set up a social media account and tell young men to go to the gym and that the girls they're talking to right now don't love them? Like, no, you wouldn't. If I gave you 10 mil, you would give something to your family, you would go and travel. No one would hear from you again. You would buy a little remote island. There's so many people I've spoken to. When they get money, they just want to disappear. That's understandable and that's fine. But I need you to challenge yourself. Why are these men here then? It's because they've had all the sex, they've had all the money, but they want more. So they're not wrong that purpose is what you need, but it's purpose within yourself. They feel better for telling people what to do, and then those young people say to them, oh, you really helped me, bro. I used to have a girlfriend, but now I have four girlfriends. That's what they get off from. That's what they enjoy. So yeah, of course you need to find your purpose, but you need to understand that their purpose is you following them. That's what they want. And I started thinking to myself, it simply doesn't make sense. I started challenging, why would you be here? Like, let's use Andrew Tate for an example. You have about 8 sports cars, £1 million houses. Why are you talking to little Timmy who's 16 and just got dumped? It doesn't make sense. Go and speak to your hoes. Go and drive your car. They do it because it's not enough. So what I want to tell, I guess, young men like me is, it you will get to the top. I'm not even trying to knock you down. You will get there, and I'm happy for you. But when you do get there, you'll realize how lonely it is there and how there's nothing there. And when time gets tough, your friends won't be there. Your friends, everyone around you will become accustomed to what you can provide. When you can no longer provide, you're you, you're done. You have no one around you. And even so, even if you have everyone around you and you have all the money, is that just because you have money? So you have a dinner with your family, friends, and girlfriends, whatever you want to call it, but they're all there because you've done well. You're there financially, but your own parents, because most of our parents are working class, ain't got a lot going on for them. They still have so many people around them, and quote unquote they could barely provide. I think it's just I think, you know, a part of using that determination and anger towards your own situation is a good thing. I think you should use it to better yourself. I think I just it just frustrates me when it comes at the expense of how a young man thinks and the way they navigate the world. These men that you're looking up to aren't as fulfilled as you think they are. And if they were, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. And I guess that's just food for thought. I think a lot of the time, I think the good. I'll end on a positive note. I think the good thing about the red pill community is that it does force you to look inward if you interpret it correctly. A lot of red pillars will tell you, "Oh, it's women's fault" and stuff. No, no, no. The when I listen to Kevin Samuels, and if you actually listen to some of the things Andrew Tate says, you will hear clearly that he's talking about your situation and it's about understanding your role in your own suffering. So yeah, look, this is a bit of a harsh truth. If you're not where you want to be, you do have to look towards yourself. Now, this is not me getting at people who may have illnesses and stuff that are genuinely stopping them from doing stuff. But at the end of the day, we all do need to look inward in order to achieve what we want to achieve. I just think that can happen without us looking down on others. Or maybe it can't. Look, I don't know. I guess you guys can kind of chime in. It's not me getting at the red pill community, but me thinking that sometimes if it's not interpreted well, which I do worry that for the young generation it's not being interpreted that well, it could just lead to hate, and hate won't get you anywhere. But anyway, that's me on this one. I think I've blagged on a little bit too long. I'll catch you guys in the next one.